Hey everybody, welcome to Liberty and EDC. I'm your host, Daniel Norman, and here we're with Pamela Swartz, who's running for State Senate of California. And so how about you tell us about yourself? Who is Pamela Swartz, the person?
All right. Well, thank you for, first of all, having me here. This is super cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So my name is Pamela Swartz, pardon me, and I'm running for State Senate District 1, which is a gigantic district. I live in Nevada County, and I'm a small business owner. Actually, I have two businesses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. One of them is a skincare company I've had since 1989.
Wow.
I started it in the Bay Area, and I had, at the time, many employees. So I understand the issues of having a small business and having employees in California and what that cost is. And then I transitioned it to an all-online company. And then 10 years ago, moved back up to Nevada County, and also I'm a farrier, but I'm a barefoot trimmer, so I trim horses that are barefoot and put boots on them and glue boots and that kind of thing. So I have two jobs. So yeah, so that's what I do. I've done that now for 20 some odd years of that too. So
great. Now, so you're running for this. What made you want to run for state Senate?
You know, I have to say, I love that question. It's one of my favorites because I can tell you, it taps into this passion I have for helping people. And you know, when I look around and I see people, our neighbors truly hurting, people who are losing their jobs, people who are having difficulty putting food on the table, don't have health care, spending thousands of dollars on their health insurance premiums. And then I look around and I see these billionaires making tons and tons of money, and just people really hurting, and this inequality that's going on. Pardon me, I just have a frog in my throat. But
no worries.
But I just really, I was just compelled to really jump in. And the person that was going to be running against our incumbent, there was a challenger, had backed out at the very last minute. And so I decided, you know, I'm going to do this. So I entered this race on December 6th. So
have you done any politics before?
Never. Not since high school. And so it just turned out that, you know, it kind of laid itself in front of me. I thought, you know, I'm going to do this. I really want to be able to help people out and make a voice. We don't have a voice in our state. We have politicians that are truly bought by corporations. I'm really proud to say.
Why do you say that?
Because they get a lot of donations from large corporations that are not in our district. The person I'm running against is funded, has a nice little funding from, let's say, the oil industry or pharmaceuticals or the healthcare industry. But, you know, from Chevron. I mean, we don't have a square inch, I don't believe, of our district that's actually owned by, you know, has Chevron, you know, oil manufacturing in it.
Right.
And so consequently, you know, he votes pro-fracking, which I don't think that is beneficial for the environment, especially when we know that that will lead to carbon emissions and increased forest fires. And our district is suffering from forest fires. So I'm very proud to say that we don't take a dime of corporate money, completely not corporate funded, people funded. And that's exactly what I think a person whose representative should be, is people funded, definitely not corporate funded.
Now let me ask you, what does a state Senate person do? Like, what's kind of their day-to-day? How does that affect the normal person's life? Oh,
tremendously. State Senate laws actually, state laws affect our lives probably more than actual federal laws. And then the state will make laws, and then the counties and the cities and jurisdictions actually follow that under that framework. So, you know, like our gasoline tax, payroll taxes, you know, even with healthcare and you know, facilities, all of those things really, schools, huge schools, affect your daily life, and those are all governed at the state level. So, you know, policing, all that is at the government at the state level. So
when you say policing, like CHP. You're talking about?
CHP, and also just in terms of police reform. I mean, some of the propositions on the ballot have to do with policing, and also in terms of like like the chokehold, like the governor just signed a bill to ban chokeholds, for police reform. So yeah, I just feel like we don't have a representative in our district who actually pays attention to what you and I need, right? We need good roads to drive on. If we have kids, we want to send our kids to school, a good school. We want to make sure that we can afford our gasoline and not be taxed to death. We want to make sure that what we do pay taxes, actually, that money comes back into our district, into our communities. So those are the things that that's one reason why huge reason why I'm running, but what we are void of. As somebody actually at the table who's fighting for our more rural district. District 1 is a rural district. It goes from north at the Oregon border all the way down the eastern sides of the Sierras, down into Placer, El Dorado County, and then squishes out a little bit into the eastern portion of Sacramento. And so that's a more rural area of California.
Yeah.
And where the laws that are made in California are actually really made by the more urban areas of California. And we don't have anybody at the table banging their hands on the table and saying, listen, you know something? We need internet. We don't have a lot of internet in our district.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
and that is something that we really need for our businesses, for our schools, especially now with distance learning. We don't have that. As a matter of fact, we have a person that actually voted against internet infrastructure in our district. Like, that's kind of weird. Takes some money from telecom communication companies, though.
Is that a state job, though, or is that, could that
State.
be? I mean, what I'm asking is that a job that the state should be doing, or is that a job that, private company could be doing instead?
Oh, no. This is just for laws and for funding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, the people who do it are oftentimes a mix of public and private enterprises. So absolutely. But in terms of getting the funding...
They're actually hampering that from happening, from companies being able to do internet infrastructure.
Right.
Gotcha.
When you vote against internet infrastructure, or there are bills that have been just recently, the past last few weeks of the state legislature, when they were in session, voting against wildfire prevention, voting against clean water bills. I mean, these are things that impact our district tremendously and the people who live here. And it's interesting because State Senate District 1, just by hook or crook, is actually the watershed of the state of California. We provide, just because, we provide 2/3 of California's fresh drinking water, ag water, and industrial water.
Yeah.
We are the watershed of California. And when our watershed is on fire, when we're going to end up with massive slides and flooding in our waters and our streams, that's a problem for California. We can't have an economy without water in California. So the health of our district is imperative for the health and the welfare of the rest of the California economy. And that is not being, in my opinion, brought to the forefront at every single level at the state level.
Do you have a particular item that you're like, this is my number one, or a handful of things that are like your top 3 items that you're going after?
Well,
or changes that you'd want to see?
Yeah. I believe in climate change. I don't think it's something that we believe in. I think it's something that we understand, and we need to make some big, solid changes. And because of that, we really need to back away from using fossil fuels and more into the green economy. And the green economy, let's say in our district for energy production, is biomass facilities. And biomass facilities, I was just talking to an expert actually just yesterday in this, and I thought that a biomass facility every 100 miles would be great in our district. And they're like, oh, no, every 40 or 50 miles. Which is a lot of biomass facilities, small megawatt, 3 megawatt facilities that would be bringing new jobs into the community, well-paying jobs.
Biomass, it's like processing sewage and stuff like that? Or?
No. I thank you for, I get going on it, and I forget that people don't always know what biomass facilities are. So let me explain. In our district, we have a lot of understory, a lot of trees and understory and brush.
Okay.
And so that makes our forests very ripe for having these big mega fires. Obviously, many years of a drought, beetle infestation, We have a lot of dead trees in our forests, as well as the fact that we have a lot of understory. So our forests have been underfunded.
Yeah, our governor just said that we've been mismanaging our forests, and
exactly
we gotta do something about that.
Exactly. Now, our district, 55% of our district is owned by the federal government. Those forests are federal lands. So we have BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and the Forest Service, and there's some national red parks and things too. But pretty much in general, it's the Forest Service and BLM. So as a state, it's not really up to us to fund those lands. So, but unfortunately, like the big fire, the North Complex, it started in Plumas County, and the Plumas National Forest. Well, it quickly goes into state land or private land, and so who's footing the bill for that forest fire, right? California state is paying gazillions of dollars every year, fighting fires that start on these national lands because they have been underfunded and mismanaged. So we need to now finally get everybody together on the same page. And I think with these big, huge fires and people unfortunately passing away from those fires and the losses that are happening, I think now at this time we have federal, state, local agencies now recognizing like, wow, we really need to do something here.
Yeah. So what do you see the fix for that is?
Well, those biomass, I keep on going back to those biomass facilities. So what it is you go out into the field, into the forests, and you thin, manage, right, the forests. I should also say that I have a forestry degree from Berkeley.
Wow, awesome.
So So cruising timber and taking tree measurements and understanding about how the forests and the environment and ecosystems are supposed to be interacting with each other, I get that. And I think a lot of people get that. A lot of people in our community get that because we live in that environment. But so you go out and you take out the biomass, the lower stories, the brush, you limb up the trees, you chip right on site, and then you truck that into a biomass facility, which uses a technique called gasification. This is all relatively new, but it's being used. A gasification technique where you actually remove the hydrogen from the biomass.
Okay.
Now, just
how
remember
do they do that?
It's through a gasification technique. It's kind of complex. I don't know all the ins and outs, but
So they're not just like burning it; they're doing some type of advanced
They're
process.
extracting the hydrogen, right?
Okay.
And it's not a hot process. And then you can be left with what's called biochar, which is actually charcoal.
Okay.
Right? And so it's wonderful for an agricultural use. California happens to be a little agriculture, right? So you can, and it holds all that carbon in that biochar. And so you can take that and you can use it in agricultural process. You can also use it in like pigs or any kind of animal farming where you might have a lot of manure or urine in these big pools. They can put the biochar in there. That biochar holds methane and uric acid. And so that will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions by doing that. But also you can burn it down to nothing, like just to basically ash. And you can also do that too. Oh. But with that hydrogen, right, you can use it for hydrogen fuel. And there's this amazing tech, it's happening, it's going to happen in California. There's a company called Yosemite Clean. And they're working with Nikola, which is also a big trucking manufacturing company, like the big semis. And they're making hydrogen-run semis. And so they're looking for facilities, biomass facilities, to actually make this hydrogen fuel. So these trucks and also municipal buses, like the big buses that run on diesel that kind of stink up downtowns, to run those on the hydrogen. So it's this whole big process, and all the details I know a lot about, but not enough to answer all the little nit and gritty.
Now, is that cost effective?
Absolutely. How much money did the car fire cost?
I don't know.
The car fire up in Reading a couple of years ago, right? How much did the campfire cost?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it's crazy expensive.
Okay, so each one of those was about a $16 billion loss. That doesn't include the human loss, right? One biomass facility that I'm talking about is about $30 million. You can do a heck of a lot of biomass facilities for $1 billion, right? You could put 35 of them for $1 billion in our district, right? So now start multiplying all that out. Then you have all the homeowners insurance policies that are being canceled, all the death and destruction that's happening from these forest fires. So the cost, and you get to employ new people, new jobs, support existing jobs. It's a no-brainer. It is absolutely the future, and it is exactly in our district. You can also hook up to the grid.
But, I guess what I mean is, as far as the creation of the energy that's from that, like I guess how expensive is that energy compared to what we're doing now? Like, is it cheaper? Is it more expensive? Well, I mean, obviously the cost of forest management, but I guess there's other means to manage the forest as well, apart from doing. There's other
you have
ways.
to remove them. You have to move the biomass. You have to do something with it, right? I mean, you just can't let it keep on growing because it becomes ladder fuel and it just torches these trees.
Right. So what the question is as far as an energy creation, like how cost effective is that?
Very cost effective. So you can also tie into the grid with these energy systems, right? So you're actually you have a 3 megawatt or maybe a little bit more facilities that tie into the grid, and so the cost of making that energy per watt is slightly more than, let's say, what PG&E, for example, is doing right now, right? Not enough to make it thousands of dollars more for the consumer. I mean, we're talking way less than what it would actually be. And this is all from experts who have penned this out and penciled this out, okay? It's way less than what your homeowner's insurance would be when it gets raised or canceled. Like the California Fair Plan, for example. It ain't fair. And
tell us what that is.
Right. So the California Fair Plan is it's a state-sponsored insurance policy but it's backed by private insurers as well as reinsurance companies. And it is specifically for fire and flood. And you're required as a homeowner, especially if you own a house, if you have a house that has a mortgage on it, you have to have comprehensive insurance. So then you have to go out onto the market and purchase, let's say, insurance for vandalism or theft or other things, besides those major catastrophic losses. And so you might go from spending $1,200 a year, and now you're getting canceled by your homeowner's insurance. AAA goes, we're not writing policies anymore in that district. And AAA has pretty much backed out. And a lot of other ones have too. We got canceled by AAA. And then you scramble and you look for an insurance company. And lo and behold, what you're left with is spending $6,000 to $10,000 a year for a comprehensive plan that offers less insurance coverage than what you had for $1,200 a year. So when you ask about the cost associated with this, so
it's a rippling cost.
We have to manage our forests. We have to fund them. We have to do the biomass reduction, whether or not you want to use a biomass facility or you want to use that into pressed particle board or you want to do some sort of other type of product on the market. And then you reduce the chances of these huge forest fires. You reduce your homeowner's insurance. You reduce your fire risk. You make the community safer. We
definitely need all those things.
Because what we're doing now is not sustainable. I mean, we cannot be spending billions, and we have 4 million acres in California have burned. How many structures have burned in that? I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars, not to mention human lives that have been lost. We can't do this anymore. We need drastic change. And so my opinion is, as a state senator, I will not accept any money from PG&E. I can't say that about my opponent. So I'm going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we have green energy, because that's the future, right? We're going to clean up our air. We're going to clean up our water. We're going to clean up our soils.
Now, so I know, especially here in El Dorado County, it's pretty red. And so a lot of people are going to hear green energy and they're just going to go like, nope. So what do you mean when you say green energy?
I mean sustainable, long-term, doesn't kill you energy source, right? I mean, there's no reason why, with the technology that we have, especially in California, we have the Silicon Valley, we have all kinds of entrepreneurs and people who are wonderful inventors. There's no reason why we need to be dependent upon fossil fuel anymore. I mean, it just makes no sense. We have solar, we have wind, we have geothermal, we have water, we have biomass. I mean, we have an amazing ability to do all of this, but we just need somebody who's going to demand it. And in my opinion, in our district, we don't have anybody who is touting the massive resource that we have here, which is the biomass and our forests.
Awesome.
So that's why I'm here, you know, and that's why I keep on saying I am not. No corporation gives us money. I would not accept it because when a corporation gives a politician money the first time, that's a test. The second time they give them a money and slightly more, that's an admission that that was a fantastic return on their investment. And that is something that is problematic in our democracy. So when we talk about the green technology, we talk about the green future. I guess I should just say we need a sustainable future. So kids and grandkids and the multiple generations beyond us will have a safe, inhabitable place to live, and also jobs. Jobs. It's super important.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we close out here?
No, I could talk about this all day long. I guess what I want to add is this, you know, as running as a Democrat in a red district, people have this preconceived notion that as a Democrat, you are anti-Second Amendment, or you are somehow a radical left or something. And I like to just mention the Second Amendment on purpose because this is a more red district. I am not anti-Second Amendment. I am pro-Second Amendment. I'm also pro-gun safety. And I would have to say that, that every gun owner I have spoken to is also pro-gun safety. And we don't want to have our schools shot up. We don't want to be in areas where we feel afraid because there might be some mentally unstable person with a weapon. So those are all things I want to make sure that are very clear that that please don't lump me into that. And second of all, maybe you can tell by how I talk, I am not a politician. I am your neighbor. I am a person who is truly from the district. I grew up in Reading in the district. I left to go to college. I went to college. I moved back into the district because I love living in a rural district. I love knowing who my neighbors are, you know. So I strongly, I can hardly wait to represent those of us who live in this district. I will not be living in Sacramento full time like my opponent. I do care if you have internet. I do care if your kids can go to school. I want to encourage, you know, make more trade schools because not every kid goes to college. I think it's really important that we have healthcare facilities that are not only physically accessible, but also affordable because healthcare is not for many people. These are all things that are important to me, and I will not apologize for wanting those for you.
Great. So if people are interested in your campaign or want to learn more about the positions that you hold, where can they go?
Well, our website is the best place, actually. It's PamelaForSenate.com, F-O-R, Senate.com. There's a way that you can email directly on there, and I will read your email, and I will respond to you. And if you want to speak in person, I'm more than happy to talk, because I believe, unlike the guy that I'm running against, it's very important to have a representative who is talking with their constituents. And like we mentioned before we went on air, you know, we've had 8 opportunities to have a public forum. And each time he has either not responded or canceled at the last minute. So I will not do that. I am proud to stand up and show up for the people of the 1st District.
Awesome. And so this has been Pamela Swartz, and she's running for State Senate. And this has been Liberty and EDC. You can catch us on Comcast Channel 7 up here in El Dorado County. And you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Foothill7TV. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hi, I'm Rick Rowe, owner of Placerville Polaris and Power Tools. I've owned and operated Placerville Polaris since 2007. If you'd like to experience the off-road, or if you have property in our community, come on in. Let's see what we can build for you. We are your one-stop shop for off-road fun. We do it all, from building your dream toy to decking out your razor. We are complete with a full shop, and we proudly service all our products, including our power tools. We carry only the best top quality brands, and we have everything you need for taking care of your property and maintaining your 100-foot defensible fire space. Building off-road vehicles is a passion of mine that I take very seriously. I like to be personally involved in building your dream toy from start to finish. Here at Placerville Polaris, we do a lot of testing for the manufacturers to ensure you get the proper accessories to fit your specific needs. One of my favorite parts is test driving to maximize satisfaction and quality. Come on in, let's see what we can build for you.